Hi, Pooja. So I see that your exam is coming up. So let's take a look at this set of essays you've sent us. The first one is about technology, and if it makes us more social, let's see what you said. The way we communicate with each other has changed dramatically over the past few years. According to some, modern technologies have improved our social skills. However, personally, I disagree with this view. This essay will argue that how humans, no apostrophe, actually the apostrophe should go after the S, how humans' communication skills have deteriorated with the use of latest technologies. Okay, fine. Firstly, at present, individuals spend more time on the internet. This activity utilizes most of their time, careful with that grammar, most of their time, and not avoids them, but prevents them from connecting with the real world. For example, there is ample evidence that suggests that an average person spends, with an S, 60% of their day on their mobile phone and computer screens. Sometimes, even at the time of social gatherings, instead of enjoying the moment, people stay busy with uploading photos on social media sites. Okay, Pooja, this for me is a little underdeveloped. Um, okay, so first of all, when I got into the paragraph, I didn't know what you were going to talk about. You had said that we have our communication skills have deteriorated. So I don't understand your point here. Like, what are you telling me? That all of this is positive or that all of this is negative? I sense that you mean that this is negative because you say that being on the internet takes up most of their time and prevents them from connecting with real people. But that's the only thing that you've really told us here that leads us to understand that this is a negative thing and that they are in fact becoming less social. Does that make sense? So I think that you needed to add a couple, I think you needed to add a couple of extra elements here. I think you needed to say, for example, there is clear indication that technology has made us be less social. And then you could say, firstly, at present, individuals spend more time on the internet than they do socializing. Okay, so again, bringing up the fact that it's making us less social. And then you say that they don't connect with the real world. And then, okay, here, that's fine. And then what you needed also is one of those takeaway sentences, one of those kind of conclusive statements to kind of bring it back to what the initial sentence is, which is that clearly technology is making us less social. All right, so that kind of statement here. Let's look at the next paragraph. Secondly, today the majority of people prefer to use online banking facilities. This habit gives them fewer chances of interacting with other human beings. For instance, currently, most individuals either withdraw money from the ATM machines or make online transactions rather than going to the bank. Therefore, this again isolates them from human connections. All right, this is not my favorite example here. All right, you don't go to the bank to be social. Okay, you go clearly for a transaction. So this kind of thing is really not such a great example. It's not entirely on topic, okay? My other problem is that you've got two talking about why this is a problem, and then on the other hand, you've got this one little paragraph talking about how technology is helping us. Okay, this is not what you want to do. You basically want to balance your body paragraphs. Okay, so you don't want to spend much more time on one side of the argument than you do the other, which is exactly what you've done here because you have two paragraphs talking against technology and one paragraph talking in favor of it. All right, so let's take a look at what you wrote in this paragraph. On the other hand, some socialists, wait a minute, you don't mean socialists because that's like a follower of a particular political party. So you mean something else. So on the other hand, some sociologists argue that technological advancements have reduced the barrier of distance. They suggest that individuals can stay in touch with their friends and relatives who live far away in other countries with the help of cell phones and the internet. Thus, these not activists, no, whatever, these people feel that today's human, all right, no, you know what? We're not interested in what sociologists think. We're not interested in what activists think. It says, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So I would have been okay with this paragraph under certain conditions. Number one, if you had presented it as your opinion, but then that doesn't make sense because you've spent the rest of the essay saying clearly that this is not your opinion. So this for me is not appropriate. So what do I want to tell you? I want to tell you that when you present the other side of the argument, it's called a concession. All right. So many times we call it a concession paragraph. And the fact is that in a to what extent do you agree or disagree essay, they can be a wonderful, wonderful way of really adding depth to your essay, maturity, and getting you a higher score on task achievement. But you do need to structure them the right way. So I encourage you to look at a podcast I did sometime this year on concession paragraphs. And understand how we use them. We definitely would not use them like this because in a to what extent do you agree? We don't care what psychologists or sociologists or activists think. We want to know what you think. All right? So you would have to make some major changes here. Also, I always advise that the concession paragraph comes first and then you talk about the side that you agree. It makes your side seem much stronger when you do it that way. All right, so for me, this paragraph, this whole essay has a number of problems, but I want to read your conclusion really briefly and then we'll talk a little more. To conclude from the aforementioned arguments and examples, I firmly believe that although technological advancements have connected people virtually, they have become socially de-skilled. All right, that's fine. So the paragraphs that you should have developed, you did not develop adequately. You needed to write more about them, develop them further. And you needed to completely rephrase this to say that if you wanted to include it, you need to say that somehow, in some way, you know what? Yeah, there is some validity to this. There are some times where the internet can help us be more social, like XYZ, etc. Okay? And then go into all this. So I hope that makes sense. Let's take a look at your letter to Albion. All right, this looks rather short. I don't know. Is it 150 words? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You did it right in here rather than doing it in a Word file, so it's hard to tell. Dear Sir, Madam, I'm writing this letter to apologize for... No. I'm writing this letter to apologize for being unable to inform you in advance regarding my absence during the term exam. My name is Pooja Solanki, and I am a student of Masters of Informatics course. That's awkward. And I am a Masters of Bioinformatics student. Okay? My student and case numbers are this and this respectively. The reason for the absence was my ill health. I was diagnosed with dengue fever, and in order to recover, I was hospitalized for 2 days. I have enclosed my test reports with this letter as proof of my illness. I was wondering if you could allow me to submit a paper review to compensate for my grades, as this exam's scores are going to count in the final result. I would get a chance to cover that with this assignment. I understand this type of exception. No. I understand that this is a type of exception you only allow in certain cases. Therefore, I request you to consider my situation as a special case. I hope my final result does not affect... No. I hope my final result is not affected by my illness. I look forward to receiving a positive response from your end. Yours faithfully. Okay. So let's talk about this a little bit. Did you apologize? Yes, you did. Did you identify yourself in all those 3 ways? Yes, you did. Did you explain what happened? Yes, you did. It was really rather brief. I would have liked more development of this. And then evidence. Yes, evidence. And then possible resolutions. No, this you only did partially. You asked to submit a paper review, but that's just one resolution. The essay clearly asks you to provide resolutions, plural, meaning that they want more than one resolution. Okay, so that is going to reduce your task achievement score. You can't get one of those higher band scores with that. You absolutely have to make sure, just the way here you covered all 3 of these areas, just the way you gave an explanation and evidence, you have to do the same thing here. So you have to make sure that when there is a plural, that you respond with more than one resolution or solution or whatever they're asking for. Okay, so now I know your exam is tomorrow. I hope these get to you in time. I hope you get to review them and keep this feedback, in mind for your exam. Wish you best of luck. Let us know how you do. Okay, good luck to you.